A single YouTube channel made almost $25,000 in 90 days. 900,000 views. And the entire operation cost less than $12 per video to produce. The channel is called Boring History, and every single piece of content on it was generated by artificial intelligence. Not edited by AI. Not assisted by AI. Fully created, from script to narration to visuals, by machines. And here is the part that should make you uncomfortable. This is not some underground hack. This is not a loophole. This is a repeatable system that dozens of copycat channels are now replicating at scale. The question is not whether this works. The question is what happens to everyone else when this becomes normal. Welcome back to Zero Index. Let me show you exactly what we are dealing with here. I tracked down the production breakdown for one of Boring History's videos. An 18-minute piece on medieval history. The total cost to generate it, $11.24. That is not a typo. The animations were the most expensive part, and even those came out to roughly $1 for every 457 credits on the generation platform they used. The AI wrote the script. The AI generated the voiceover. The AI created every single image and animation. A human being pressed buttons and uploaded the file. That is the extent of the labor. Now compare that to what most YouTube creators go through. Research. Writing. Recording. Editing. Thumbnail design. A single video at that quality level would normally take a solo creator anywhere from 20 to 40 hours of work. For Boring History, the bottleneck is not time or skill. The bottleneck is how fast the AI can render. And here is what makes the economics genuinely dangerous for traditional creators. One of their videos with just 11,000 views generated $323 in ad revenue. That is an RPM of $29.11 per thousand views. To put that in perspective, most YouTube channels operate at an RPM between $3 and $8. Boring History is earning 4 to 10 times more per view than the average creator. Why? I will come back to that, because the answer reveals something about YouTube's algorithm that most people completely misunderstand. Almost every video on Boring History is over 3 hours long. The entire history of the American frontier. Unusual medieval cures for common illnesses. What getting wasted was like in medieval times. These are not educational videos in the traditional sense. They are background noise. Sleep content. Ambient history for people who want something playing while they fall asleep or wash dishes or zone out after work. And this is where it gets interesting, because YouTube's algorithm does not care why someone watches a video. It only cares that they do. A 3-hour video that someone falls asleep to registers as 3 hours of watch time. That viewer did not engage. They did not learn anything. They might not even remember clicking on it. But to YouTube, that is one of the most valuable viewers on the platform. Watch time is the single most important metric YouTube uses to determine which videos to promote. And long-form background content generates obscene amounts of it. This is why the RPM is so high. Advertisers pay more for placements in videos with extended engagement, and YouTube rewards channels that keep people on the platform longer with better positioning and more impressions. So what you have is a perfect storm. AI reduces production costs to nearly zero. The 3-hour format maximizes the metric YouTube cares about most. And the sleep and background niche has almost infinite demand because people need this content every single night. I want to be precise about this because most people miss it. Boring History is not succeeding despite being AI generated. It is succeeding because being AI generated is the only way to produce this much content at this length at this cost. If Boring History were an isolated case, this would just be a clever arbitrage story. One person found a gap in the market. Good for them. But that is not what is happening. I started looking at the YouTube homepage for anyone who watches history content, and what I found was a pattern. Boring History bites. History Before Sleep. The Snoozatorian. Historian Sleepy. Dreamoria. These are all channels that appeared in the last 12 months, all producing nearly identical content, all using the same 3-hour format, all targeting the same background viewing niche. This is not competition in the normal sense. This is replication. Someone reverse engineered the boring history model, packaged it into a tutorial or a tool, and now dozens of operators are flooding the same niche with the same product. The only differentiation is the name and the specific historical topics. And here is the part that actually surprised me when I dug into it. The quality is not meaningfully different between any of these channels. Because they are all using the same AI tools, the same image generation models, the same text-to-speech systems. The barrier that used to separate good content from bad content, effort, skill, taste, experience, has been almost completely eliminated. What matters now is speed. Who can identify a trending niche first? Who can generate content fastest? Who can upload most consistently? The game has shifted from who can make the best thing to who can make the most things before the market saturates. Remember when I said I would come back to why the RPM is so high? This is where it gets strange. YouTube does not pay creators directly. Advertisers pay YouTube, and YouTube shares a portion of that with creators based on how valuable their audience is. An audience of teenagers watching gaming content is worth less to advertisers than an audience of adults watching finance content. A viewer in the United States is worth more than a viewer in most other countries. And critically, a viewer who watches for 3 hours is worth dramatically more than a viewer who watches for 8 minutes. The 3-hour history format hits almost every high-value signal simultaneously. The audience skews older. History content attracts viewers with disposable income. The watch time is astronomical. And because these videos run while people sleep, the viewers are not skipping ads, they are literally unconscious while the ads play. I will be honest. I did not see this coming. When AI content first started appearing on YouTube, most people assumed it would race to the bottom. Low quality, low engagement, low revenue. What actually happened is that AI creators found the one format where quality almost does not matter, where length is the product, and where the audience actively wants something forgettable. They did not compete with human creators. They found a game human creators cannot win. So here is the uncomfortable question. If an AI channel can generate 3 hours of content for $11, and that content earns $300 or more, and the process can be repeated daily, what happens to the economics of being a human creator? The obvious answer is that human creators should just avoid competing in these niches. Do not make background content. Do not make sleep content. Focus on personality-driven videos where being human is the product. But I do not think that answer holds for very long. The tools that generate boring history videos today are crude. The voices sound synthetic. The images have that uncanny AI shimmer. The scripts are competent but not clever. Give it 18 months. Give it 2 years. The synthetic voice becomes indistinguishable from human. The images become photorealistic. The scripts become genuinely engaging. At that point, the cost advantage does not just apply to background content. It applies to everything. $24,597 in 90 days. That is what one channel earned running this playbook. And the person behind it probably spent less than $100 total on production costs across all of their videos. That margin is not a bug in the system. It is the system working exactly as designed. YouTube wants watch time. Advertisers want impressions. AI delivers both at scale. The only people who lose are the ones still trying to compete on effort. I am not telling you this so you can copy the model, although you could. I am telling you this because the window where human effort was the primary input to creative success, that window is closing faster than most people realize. The question is not whether AI content will dominate certain categories. It already does. The question is which categories are next, and whether there is anything left that machines cannot eventually do cheaper and faster.